That Nichiren suffers so much is not without remote causes, he begins this quotation. As is explained in the chapter on the Bodhisattva Saraparibhutta, all abuses and persecutions heaped upon the Bodhisattva, so he firmly identifies himself as Bodhisattva now, were the result of his previous karma. His previous karma. We're going to take that apart a little bit. How much more, then, should this be the case with Nichiren, a man born in the family of an outcast fisherman, so lowly and degraded and poor? Although in his heart he cherishes something of the resolve of the Lotus Sutra, or the truth, the body is nothing but a common human body, sharing beast-like life. Remember what I said about life? How we think of it personally instead of this personal, minute capsule of life in general. That's going to be vivid here in this letter. I'm going to single it out because the author doesn't seem to quite get that, but you'll see. Although in his heart he cherishes something of the resolve in the Lotus of Truth, the body is nothing but a common human body sharing beast-like life, nothing but a combination of the two fluids, pink and white, the products of flesh and fish. Right? Because that's what he ate as a fisherman's son. They ate fish all the time, and that fish is what gave them sustenance. Then that must be partly what they're made of. We are what we eat. You ever heard that? Therein the heart finds its abode. Somewhere in this carcass of a human body, there is a heart, a mind. Right? In Asiatic thinking, the heart and mind are connected inexorably. Attitude is just as much a part of hunger as it is the stomach. Something like the moon reflected in a muddy pool, like gold wrapped up in a dirty bag. Somehow, in this plain wrapper of a human body, there is a spirit, a heart, a mind that exceeds the boundaries of this flesh, yeah? Since the heart cherishes resolve in the Lotus of Truth, there's no fear even before Brahma and Indra. I'm so determined, convinced. It's not my body that's convinced, right? It's not my brain, my eyes, my mouth, my feet. There's something else at foot here. Bad pun. Yet the body is an animal body. Not without reason others show contempt for this man, this body. They don't see my heart and mind. They see Nichiren. They see a man. They see a loudmouth. And because there is a great contrast between my heart, mind, and my body, I may look poor, disheveled, crappy robes. I may not be the prettiest to look at, but that doesn't speak to the essence of what I am, what I know. And even this heart mind of mine is full of stains. I've made all sorts of errors, and I've inherited those errors through my ancestry, through life writ large. See why it's important to remember when we say that word life, what we're actually referencing? If you don't respect, I don't want to say respect, if you take out of the equation time, then the universe and you all happening at once, which is the fact of the matter, moment to moment, moving. That momentum creates time and space. It's a different way of looking at life, yeah? A different causal relationship. And even this self, this body-mind is full of stains, being the pure moonlight only in contrast to the muddy water, or the gold in contrast to the dirty bag. See, the interrelationship is immediate. It's not this, then that. It's a spiritual knowing within just the accumulation of histories of the entire evolution of a species to a conscious mind. A conscious sentient mind isn't represented by this body. This body is just an apparatus for it to instantiate. Who indeed fully knows the errors accumulated in his previous lives, or life writ large? We know the history of what we've done days, weeks, months, years ago. We tend to forget most of it, but we can identify major points, and that's all well and good. But the energies that have come by way of your parents, their parents, their parents, their parents, the universe that accumulated this freight train of karma that each one of us is, has come to us not from the womb, but long before. And we've added to it and modified it throughout this particular instantiation. That's not about reincarnation. It's about energy, this common thread that we are all of and affecting. That's not a soul. That's just energy. And the consciousness of that process is our unique ability emergent from this particular instantiation to see it, observe it, address it, mollify it, celebrate it, to influence this life back into the energy pool that is the universe. This is our only opportunity while we have a sentient mind. There's no sentient mind that drifts around after we die. The mind is a product, an emergent property of this human life, this dirty bag, right? The accumulated karma, it's unfathomable. You can't possibly know it. You can see evidence of it when you change it, when you affect it. Oh, I didn't even know that was an obstacle getting in my way. Because when we have those big aha moments, we see things that we never could have imagined seeing before. So obviously there were things that were obfuscating that knowledge. We don't know what they are, but we know when they change, when they leave us. It is not by forging and refining that rough iron is tempered into a sharp sword. Right? It takes like a tumbler. You put certain rocks in a tumbler and you let them tumble in some water solution and so forth for a long time, and by rubbing against each other, the little sharp edges are smoothed out, and you end up with these really shiny jewel-like stones. In other words, in order to hone one's clarity, Buddha-ness, you got to expect certain chips and scrapes, and right? It's part of the effort. You're sloughing off the stuff that doesn't shine. And by doing that, you shine all the more. Namo Myo Renge Kyo. That's why we repeatedly chant the Daimoku, yeah? Is it not by forging and refining that rough iron is tempered into a sharp sword? Are not rebukes and persecutions really the process of refining and tempering? I am now in exile without any assignable fault. They just got sick of me being around. Yet this may mean the process of refining in this life the accumulated errors from the past, throughout my ancestry, throughout the universe, and being thus delivered from the three woeful resorts. The world is full of men who degrade the Lotus of Truth, and such rule this country right now. But I, Nichiren, not also been one of the... But have I, Nichiren, not also been one of them? Just by my own ignorance, have I not gone along with the system? Is that not due to the errors accumulated by deserting the truth? This momentum that we're all a part of, our culture, my parents, their parents, the universe, constantly abiding to reinstantiate this potential energy. Doesn't mean that the potential is all good. It has potential for crap. Isn't that part of all of us? Now, when the intoxication is over, I stand here something like a drunken man who, having, while intoxicated, struck his parents after coming to himself, repents the offense. What an unenlightened person I was. I no longer need to repeat that behavior. The error is hardly to be expiated at once. It's not like, well, I'll give you $5 to help you, and that should take care of this sin, that sin, that sin. That retribution argument that's that magical thinking again, right? Had not the rulers and the people persecuted me, how could I have expiated my errors accumulated by degrading the truth? If it were not for my enemies, how would I not realize how important it is to not be thus, to not be that person, that recipient? Obviously, through my own errors in the past. How could I not value my life of dignity in the truth were it not for people making it obvious to me what it means to not be in that truth? Even if they're assailing me because I believe in that truth. Obviously, ipso facto, if I'm doing something that's raising so many eyebrows, perhaps there's something here. Such reflections on his own errors, naturally, or negative karma, led Nichiren to apply the same principles to his followers. You see how he's making this transition now from somebody who's singularly trying to point something out to somebody who's leading others to find in their own their own ways, their own clarity, their own experience, that same crucible of truth, if you will. No one is totally destitute of Buddha nature. Right? I'm not some special sainted thing. I'm just seeing the truth, and so can anyone else. Let me inspire you to take courage in your own pursuit of truth, the truth, which is dormant in the innermost recesses of the heart and mind. But none is free from the errors or negative karmas, having discarded and disobeyed the truth, because this truth is abiding, has always been here. And by being ignorant of it, unknowingly, you are working around, counter, or against that truth itself, even without knowing it, or your parents not knowing, or so on and so forth. Nichiren is now fulfilling the oaths taken before the Buddha, as is told in the Lotus Sutra, and thereby expiating his negative karma through a severe discipline in hardships. You could say that smacks a little bit of, the self-flagellation of religions. I'm bad. But that's not what Nichiren is saying. And we have to take into account the translator here. What Nichiren is doing is he's saying, I'm inculcating these hardships not of my own making as atonement, but as my own awakening to understand that behavior is unnecessary, that there's a better behavior of dignity and truth that is unassailable by those that would silence me. It's a different view, right? Persecutions are necessary accompaniments of the lives of those who labor for the sake of the truth because of their efforts to stir up the malicious and perverse nature of their fellow beings, among whom the work of propagating the truth is done. So it's almost as when you commit, and I was saying this in the last video, when you commit to your practice, when you really hunker down and have an expectation of your Buddha-ness to change life, not just your life, then of course life is going to respond. A lot of it beneficially, a lot of it with great admiration, but always some of it with who do you think you are? Oh, screw you. Expect it. It's the nature. I did a video a long time ago with a bowl of water. You should try this. Get a bowl, just a cereal bowl, whatever, and fill it up with water. It doesn't have to be to the brim. Just get a good amount of water in there. And then sprinkle a bunch of pepper, ground pepper, it'll float on the surface of the water, right? You should endeavor to just lightly put it in there so it floats. And then take one of your fingers and rub some dish soap on it. Be careful not to get anything in the water. Just your finger, just one finger. Then look at that water with the pepper all over the surface of it. And then take your finger with the dish soap on it and touch the top of the water. Just immerse the tip of your finger into the water. And I'm not going to tell you what happens. I just want to see if any of you will try this experiment. This is exactly what he's talking about. It's when you chant, you affect life, your environment, everything about your surroundings changes. Context is everything, yeah? But the perils are at the same time a means of expiating the worker's own negative karma. Moreover, an existence of any kind is never an individual matter. Life in its entirety we're a little bottle of that entirety. And Nichiren is saying it. But always the result of a common karma shared by all born in the same realm of existence. Do you get it? This is what a lot of magical thinkers turn into something mystical and magical. But it's just a process of it. If you understand that we're all of the same energy, just little bottles of it, little concentrations of photons, then you see other concentrations of photons as sharing in this entire mist of photons. Seriously. Hence, the expiation made by any one individual is, in fact, made for the sake of all his fellow beings. Bodhisattva. This is what I always remind people. I know there's groups and sects out there. They'll say, oh, pray for him, pray for her, meditate, chant for his happiness, chant for her illness. That's all bullshit. But rest assured, your chanting will affect her illness, his life. Why? Because we're all from the same pool of energy. So if you work diligently to change your perception, your karma, that's what you take to your Butsudan. That's what you take to your mandala. That's what you take to your sentient mind, Gohanzon, Buddha-ness. And that is what radiates out into the environment, just like the bowl of pepper and the finger with the little dish soap on it. It radiates out immediately. You don't have to worry about Frank and Betty and Delilah and whatever they're going through. You are affecting it. As well as the lives of all those people in Ukraine right now, in Yemen, all over the world. Yeah, your karma is connected to theirs. So the best thing you can do when you get in front of your mandala, you can make all sorts of notes to yourself and so on, and blah, blah, blah. Single-mindedly, quoting Nichiren now, single-mindedly meet Buddha. Instantiate your Buddha-ness. And have the confidence that that is the practice of truth and it is radiating throughout your life writ large, all of it. Yeah, that task can seem pretty phenomenally overwhelming sometimes. Keep at it. Keep at it. Both the persecutors and the persecuted share the common karma accumulated in the past. Oh my goodness. Isn't he just repeating what I've been saying? And therefore share also the future destiny, the attainment of Buddhahood. Nichiren's repression of others' malice and vice is at the same time his own expiation and self-subjugation. How then should his followers not share his merit in extinguishing the accumulated negativity and preparing for the realization of the primeval abiding Buddha nature? Therefore, Nichiren exhorts his disciples, quote, believe in me, have confidence in me, and emulate my spirit and work. There it is. That's written to you and I. Emulate my spirit and work in the firm resolve that the master is the emancipator and the leader. Your Buddha-ness is everything. Pursue it as I do. This is Nichiren. This is our teacher. This is our mentor. This is the person to emulate. He's telling us to emulate him. Work together, united in the same belief, in the same resolve, in the same conviction. Then the expiation of negative karma will be achieved for ourselves and for our fellow beings because we all share in the common karma. And with that, we go into the next chapter. This video might be a little bit short, but the point is so... This is your practice. This is my practice. This is our practice. And we all share in it. That is the amazing efficacy of a Sangha. And by liking and subscribing, you promote that efficacy through the YouTube algorithms so other seeking minds, other people curious about Buddhism can find this truth. It is our bodhisattva practice. Not all of it, but certainly an element of it, yeah? make this incredible Nichiren doctrine clearly more available to more people. And for that, I'm so grateful to your efforts. Namo Myo Renge Kyo. Be kind to yourself. Take care of your health. Keep your practice strong. The world around you will change, I promise. Nichiren guarantees it. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. I will see you in the next one. Bye for now. Myo.